This slideshow is to help any third years or transition years who are progressing into fifth year into the traditional Leaving Cert and need to choose optional subjects from a choice of 19 subjects. Information on the 19 optional subjects is in this slideshow, and information on the Leaving Cert Vocational Programme, the Leaving Cert Applied Programmes or the Transition Year Programme is in separate links on the same part of the website that you clicked into for this slideshow. Each of the third year class groups received a programme of classes from either Miss Walsh or Mr Howley, the guidance counsellors in Cork Community School. During those classes they learnt about the 19 options on offer for senior cycle subjects, which included a booklet with information on these optional subjects. They also learned how to find out about college entry requirements. They were given a sample of the subject choice form, and they were given an opportunity to attend a career event in the school on the 19 options that they have available to them to choose for senior cycle. Transition year students also received a programme of classes which worked from the sample subject choice form as well as a careers portal workbook and licence. So each transition year student has access to an online licence where they can find information on their different subjects on offer for a senior cycle and also on self-assessment tests that they can take, which are embedded into their careers portal file, student file. They also had an opportunity to attend the careers fair where they could talk to fifth year students at the different stands to learn about the optional subjects on offer in Cork Community School for senior cycle. So just to remember that the other options, whether you're in third year and thinking of going to transition year, whether you're in third year and you're thinking of continuing with LCVP, or whether you're in third year and continuing into LCA, those are discussed in separate slideshows which you have links to in the website. Most students would study 7 subjects for Leaving Cert, and the best 6 in any one sitting are taken for points. In other words, when you do your Leaving Cert and the exams are corrected and the grades are produced, the CAO or the State Exams Commission will take the best 6 subjects and convert them into points. In order to get into certain college courses, particularly at university level, they look for maths and English, and then they look at other subjects specific to the courses. All the subjects carry equal points with the exception of Honours Maths, where they get a bonus of 25 points. All Leaving Cert students in 5th and 6th year, unless exempt, would sit English, Irish and Maths. Maths is a little bit different, and it is one of the 3 core subjects. It's different because the higher level maths students who score a H6 or higher are given an additional 25 points onto their points. Maths is a requirement at university level at a H4 or better for the engineering degrees, and computer science and IT can look often for an O2 or an O1 or better in Leaving Cert Maths. The Institutes of Technology look for a good grade on ordinary level maths if you're going into a maths orientated course. The Guards will accept foundation level maths, and the National Universities of Ireland will accept foundation level maths for some courses, for example arts, and it is also required for some post-Leaving Cert courses, so it is quite important, as is the English and the Irish. And remember, if the student doesn't do Irish, that's no problem. They apply for an exemption if applying to a National University of Ireland, which is just a paperwork exercise done in 6th year. To recap then, a standard Leaving Cert would be 7 subjects for most students around the country sitting the Leaving Cert, where they would have the 3 core subjects, Irish, English and Maths, unless exempt from Irish. They'd have 1 modern language. They don't have to do it, but if they do French or Spanish, it's encouraged that they continue to do it. And then they have 3 or 4 optional subjects depending on whether they have the modern language or not. And an 8th subject would be the LCVP programme, which is discussed in a separate slide. So they have to choose, obviously the 3 core subjects are set, then they choose French or Spanish, they'd keep on whichever one they're doing, and from the 17 other optional subjects they would make choices. So the 19 optional subjects are divided into categories. So the modern languages would be the French or Spanish. Under science, you'd have ag science, biology, chemistry or physics. Under business, accounting or business. Under applied science, you'd have construction studies, TCG, technology, engineering and applied maths. Under social studies and arts would come art, history, geography, home ec, music and PE. A VSWOR link was sent out by text to third and TY parents or guardians so that they could log on to get access to the 5th year subject choice form, which is in an electronic version. The students are then asked to rank French or Spanish as number 1 if they're doing a modern language, and if they're not doing French or Spanish, they will rank 5 subjects in order of priority. So the students would rank the subjects according to 1 being their favourite or their most preferred, and if it's French or Spanish, it has to go down. Then 2 is their next preferred, then 3, and so on till they get 4 and 5 subjects filled in. Students are also asked to choose 1 of 4 options as their 6th choice on the form. So an option of there are 4 choices within their 6th choice. Do they want to put number 6 down as the traditional Leaving Cert, or do they want to put number 6 down for Leaving Cert Applied, or do they want to go and do transition year, or do they want to do the subject LCVP? The completed online forms must be submitted by the 4th of March, and the school will do their best to give students their preferred choices, but this cannot be guaranteed because it depends on resources like timetabling and teaching hours. Key information on the optional subjects can be found for free on a website called Careers Portal. So if you type in the website and you click into the icon that says school, and then within there you'll see a button that says Leaving Cert. It's got a harp on it, and when you click in there you'll see a row of apps, and if you click into the one that says Leaving Cert subjects, you'll find really good, clearly laid out information on each of the optional subjects. The reason subject choice is important is because it's necessary when students are applying to go to further or higher education. It meets the entry requirements to get into the college or to get into a specific course. Also, it's important that students maximise their points, meaning the results from their Leaving Cert, they can do their best in those subjects and they are converted then to points. And quite simply, you just might need subject or subjects for a particular career. So in all the higher education institutes in Ireland, 8 of them can be put in, of the 8, 5 of them can be put in a specific group called the NUI, the National University of Ireland group. So NUI Galway, UCC, UCD and Maynooth University and the Royal College of Surgeons are called the NUI groups. To get into the colleges, firstly, they look for a minimum of at least 2 H5s and 4 O6s or H7s, including English, Irish unless you're exempt, maths, 1 modern language unless exempt, and 2 other subjects. So the modern language is usually required for all courses in the NUI group, except the science and engineering courses don't insist on the modern language, so they could use another optional subject instead. So out of their 7 subjects, 6 are looked at. UL has slightly different entry requirements to the NUI group. UL looks for at least a minimum of 2 H5s and 4 O6s or H7s to include English, maths and either Irish or a modern language unless exempt and 2 other subjects. So if you can imagine in Leaving Cert you do English, maths, Irish, French and 2 other subjects, or you might do English, maths, Irish and 3 other subjects. The modern language in UL is usually required for their law courses, their international business courses, but not for most of their science and engineering courses. Whereas the science and engineering and health science courses in UL would look for at least 1 lab science subject, and a lab science subject would be ag science, biology, chemistry or physics. So DCU, which is another of the 8 universities, looks for a minimum of 2 H5s and 4 O6s or H7s to include it in maths and either Irish or English along with 4 other subjects. So they would look for maths with English and 4 other subjects, or they'd look for maths with Irish and 4 other subjects, or you could have maths, English, Irish and 3 other subjects. The modern language is again usually required for certain law, teaching, business courses, but not for the science and engineering courses. However, the science, engineering and health science courses would look for at least 1 lab science subject. And again, the lab science subjects are the ag science, physics, chemistry or biology. Trinity College will also look for a minimum of 3 H5s and 3 O6s or H7s. And these will include English along with 1 of either the Irish or French or Spanish. And in relation to maths, Trinity would accept an F6 or better, that's a foundation level 6 in maths or better for their arts courses, but all their other courses will look for at least an O4 or a H6 or better in some cases. The other courses being any of their business courses, their science or health sciences courses, and engineering looks for a H4 or better in most universities, if not all of them. So in Ireland, qualifications are validated by a government agency called the Quality and Qualifications of Ireland, and they follow a national framework of qualifications as seen in this chart here. So in our school system in secondary school, when a Leaving Cert student finishes the Leaving Cert, they have done a level 5. And if they progressed straight into a university, they progress to a level 8 honours degree. Some in the Institutes of Technology or at technological universities, a student can also do a level 8 honours degree straight from Leaving Cert, or they can opt to a level 6 or 7 course, which means they can do a 2-year higher certificate or a 3-year ordinary degree, or they can progress from a 2-year higher certificate into a 3rd year to make it an ordinary degree at level 7 qualification. And then if they're doing well and they like it, they could even do a 4th year and make it a level 8 honours degree. So the system is designed for students to progress, and all the universities are level 8 honours degrees, and the Institutes of Technology, which are now called technological universities, are at levels 6, 7 or 8. So when you do your Leaving Cert, you do level 5 and progress either into a level 8 honours degree or a level 7 ordinary degree or a level 6 higher certificate. So the level 6 courses are usually 2 years, the level 7 ordinary degrees are 3 years, and the level 8 degrees, honours degrees, can be either 3 or 4 years. Most of them are 4 years. To get into a level 6 or 7 course in any Institute of Technology or technological university, they look for a minimum of 506s or H7s, and that has to include maths with the English or the Irish. The level 8 honours degree courses in the Institute of Technology will look for 2 H5s and 406s or H7s to include English or Irish. So they're a little bit easier in their entry requirements than the 8 universities already mentioned. This is a point scale, and you'll see from your son or daughter's booklet, and they know how to do this on the website Qualifax. They know how to calculate their points and see what you can get for each grade. So there's levels 1 to 8 at higher level and levels 1 to 8 at ordinary level, and then the percentage to score a H1 is 90 to 100 as a H1 given 100 points, and if you get between 80 and 89%, that would give you 88 points. 70 and 79 would give you 77 points, and so on. LCVP would be slightly different in that you can either get a distinction, which is 66 points, a merit, which is 46 points, or pass, which is 28 points. If you wanted to find out about any particular course in third level, whether it's an Institute of Technology at level 6, 7 or 8, or whether it's any of the universities or the colleges affiliated with them, there's a website called Qualifax, and the students are well able to navigate and show you. They click into the students section and you can find a course in the Higher Education CAO, which means if you want to apply to go to a university or an Institute of Technology, you apply through the CAO. You can use filters then when you get into that section, and you can type in under the course title or keyword filter engineering. Under course provider, you could take, for example, NUIG, and under award level, you could be looking to see at a level 8 honours degree. And then when you search, all the engineering courses in NUIGO, which are all at level 8, will come up, and you can click into the course to find out the specific course entry requirements. For example, they will want a H4 to get into engineering in NUI Galway, and they will want at least one science subject, which is from the group science group. So in the Leaving Cert exam, the points from your best 6 subjects are taken. So you might do 7 or even 8 subjects, and the best 6 results in any one Leaving Cert sitting are taken and converted into points and calculated. They're added together. If a student does higher level maths and gets a H6 or better, they will add 25 points onto whatever points they got for maths. They're called bonus points. So some of the more popular specific course requirements would be that if you attend an NUI Galway and most universities and want to do engineering, they usually look for a H4 in maths or better. If you wanted to do a course where French was involved, so commerce with French, they'd expect you to have a H3 or better in French in Leaving Cert. In the GMIT, really the only specific course requirement is in medical science. They want students to have at least an 06 in the lab science subject. To study primary school teaching, Mary Immaculate College looks for a H4 in Irish, and as do the other primary school teacher training colleges. Trinity and UCC ask for a H4 in chemistry in medicine, and the universities don't recognise LCVP as one of the 6 subjects for entry. They do allow you to use it as one of the 6 subjects for calculating points. So when choosing optional subjects, if a student is interested, either remotely interested or very interested in any of the sciences, health sciences or engineering, then it's advised that they do at least one science subject to meet the entry requirements for that course in college. If they are very interested, they would be advised to consider doing 2 science subjects. It's not necessary, but it would help them. For example, veterinary medicine, biology and chemistry would help. Nursing, biology, chemistry and maybe home economics. Medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, biology and chemistry, and physiotherapy, maybe biology and physics. So it's important that they think about that when choosing subjects if they're inclined to talk about those kind of careers or jobs. So to quickly go through each of the 17 subjects, the science group, you've got applied maths. Now it's popular because it complements the physics and maths courses in Leaving Cert. It also complements going on to study engineering, physics, IT, insurance, financial maths or economics. There is a practical side to it, 20% practical, and the written exam is 80%. So agricultural science, known as Ag Science, is a recognised lab science subject for college entry to science, engineering, medical science courses. It's popular if you're going on to study veterinary science, science, animal science or medicine in any of the colleges. 25% is a combination of a project and portfolio. 75% is a written exam. There is some overlap with biology and geography. Biology is a recognised lab science subject also for college entry for science and engineering and health science courses. It complements, obviously, if you're going on to study nursing. It's essential if you want to study genetics at UCC. It's very useful if you come on to study the PLC route with beauty therapy. And it is a requirement for human health and disease at Trinity. The subject involves learning a lot of theory, but there's also 22 mandatory experiments which students write up on. So chemistry is required for courses such as dentistry, dietitian, pharmacy, veterinary medicine and medicine in some colleges. For example, it's a specific course entry requirement for dentistry in UCC and Trinity and for human nutrition and dietetics in TCD. These courses, bear in mind, require very high points for entry, so if you're scoring over 500 points plus, it would apply. So physics is a very relevant and desirable subject if you're going on to engineering, computer software, and if you're going into aspects of health sciences such as physiotherapy or radiography. It's a recognised lab science subject for college entry for a lot of the science, engineering and medical courses, if not all of them. In under the business group, the Gort Community School offers accountancy and business. Accountancy is a requirement to get into the Bachelor of Commerce with accounting. You have to get at least a H4 in accounting or better, and it is a really, really useful a subject to have if you're going to go on to study commerce. It's not essential, but it's extremely useful. And if you want to pursue a career in banking, finance, administration, law, insurance, management or marketing, both accounting and business are very useful if you're going into self-employment and entrepreneurialism. And business itself would complement LCVP and vice versa. Now you can go into business courses at 3rd level without having studied it, but again, it would make more sense and be advisable if you had studied business if you're going to go down the business route. So applied sciences are subjects that belong in the practical group. So construction studies, which is a follow-on from woodwork in junior cert. In Leaving Cert, the higher level paper, there's a 50% is written and 40% goes in ordinary level to the written paper. Whereas in higher level, the practical takes 25% of the overall result, and in ordinary level, the practical takes 30%. In higher level, the project is 25%, and in ordinary level, the project is 30%. So you can see how the subject is broken down before they even sit a written paper in June. They'd have a project and a practical done, and either 50 or 60% of the course done. It isn't essential, but it is again advised if you're going into construction or any of the apprenticeships, quantity surveying, civil engineering, teaching, to have done construction studies in Leaving Cert. Another subject with a practical emphasis is engineering, which is a continuation of metalwork. And at higher level, the written paper is 50%, and at ordinary level, the written paper is 40%. In higher level, the practical is 25%, whereas at ordinary level, it's 30%. And in higher level, the project is 25% of the overall mark, whereas the project is 30%. So it's useful, but not necessary, again, for construction, apprenticeships, electrician, quantitative surveyor, civil engineering, teaching, if you're in careers or further areas of study. DCG is another subject that falls under the applied sciences or practical group, design and communications, graphics, and it's useful for architecture design, the engineering courses, manufacturing, motor mechanics, and construction industry. It contains elements of engineering and construction studies. So if you're good at subjects like that, it can be clever, I suppose, game plan in Leaving Cert to do it along with engineering or construction if you like practical subjects. It develops students' creative, cognitive and practical skills via modules such as graphic communication, problem solving, spatial and visualization and computer graphics. So it would overlap with the creative groups which contain art and music. So Cork Community Schools offers great subjects with a lot of practical in them. So technology, 50% at higher and ordinary level goes to the written paper, and 50% goes at higher and ordinary level to the project, with a strong emphasis on practical learning, which can suit a lot of students. And again, it's not necessary, but it's useful for the careers already mentioned. Under the social group is home economics, which is very much, if you have an interest in it, it's one to consider. There's a practical element in the form of a written journal that's done by the October of Leaving Cert. So they don't do as much cooking. So not expected to be as much cooking as junior cycle. They do cooking and they write up on it, and they write it up in a journal that gets 20%, and then the written paper, both higher and ordinary level, is 80%. It does provide a good foundation for career areas including health, nutrition, education, tourism, textiles, design, the food industry, science, social science, and I would add nursing to that as well. Cork Community School has great variety and offers physical education, PE, at senior cycle, which is an interest-based subject again. But just to note that 50% of both either the higher or ordinary is a written paper, but 25% then at higher or ordinary is a project, and then at higher and ordinary there's a performance exam, which is 30%, and it's examined on 3 activities, which could include 3 of the following: football, rugby, sailing, swimming, dance, running, and weight training. It provides a really good foundation for careers in health and fitness, nutrition, physiotherapy, or sports administration. So under the humanities, we would classify history and geography. Now, both the higher and ordinary written papers are 80%, but each of them have this project that's 20%, and it's done earlier in the year, in 6th year. So it's not usually required as a specific course entry requirement, unless you're obviously going into a denominated history course in a university, but it is useful in careers in law, teaching, journalism, media, and politics. Geography would come in useful in any careers that involve town planning, tourism, applied social and environmental sciences, meteorology or weather, teaching or agriculture. And geography is regarded as a science subject for some courses in Trinity College. Again, under the humanities would come the languages, the first being French. So French has at higher and ordinary level a written paper that's 55%, but the oral for ordinary level is 20%, whereas it's 25% for higher level. And the oral, which is the listening comprehension done in June, that's 25% for the ordinary level and 20% for the higher. So it can be a specific course entry requirement. For example, NUI Commerce Galway Commerce with French looks for a H3, which makes sense. If the course is called Commerce with French, French would have a relevance and importance, and they look for a H3 or better. Spanish is the other modern language. Again, it's a similar layout to the French, 55% in higher and ordinary for the written paper, whereas in the oral exam, which is usually in March or April of 6th year, both the French or Spanish or any language would have an oral exam. 20% of it goes to of the exam for ordinary level, and it's 25% of the exam for higher level. The oral, which is the listening, is 25% of the ordinary and 20% of the higher, and it's in June. It's required for specific courses in commerce. With Spanish, for example, would look for a H4 or higher. So art has a written paper both at higher and ordinary that is 30%, but there's a practical that's 20% for both higher and level, and 50% on a project. So there is a lot of essay writing in the written paper, but 70% of the exam involves a practical and a project. It's a lot of art college courses would require portfolios, like GMIT Contemporary Art, for example, and in UL the product design and architecture courses also. Any of the courses in NCAD, the National College of Art and Design, would look for portfolios. If you're pursuing careers, it's useful in print media, industrial product design, and primary teaching or advertising. Again, it's very relevant to architecture, along with DCG would be a combination that would complement further study in areas like architecture. And it's important that the students have a keen and genuine interest, and that aptitude is there, a natural flair. Under the artistic and creative group, we'd have also music. Now, music has a higher and ordinary level, has this 50% practical, which is broken down, and a written paper, which would be 50%. So the performance in the oral in the higher level is 25% each, and then the composing and the project in the written is 25% each. And in the ordinary level, you've great choice as to how you put your 50% practical and your 50% written. So the students would learn all about the theory of music, as well as being asked to play or perform. And performing can involve singing. They choose different genres of singing. So it's important that they talk to the music teachers for advice on that and further information. There are some do's and don'ts with making subject choice, and the best advice would be to do the subject you enjoy, because you'd be likely to be good at it and to stay working at it. The subject that you're interested in, you know, even if you find it difficult, if you have a genuine interest, it'll improve and grow, and you'll thrive in it. Does the subject come easy to you is always a good sign on a subject to choose. And is it compatible with your aptitude? Are you picking something that is maybe high in numerical aptitude and you struggle with numeracy, or vice versa for verbal and literacy? So it depends on what your natural strengths are. And is it needed for the college course and the specific course? So do what comes naturally, do what comes easy, do what you enjoy and what you've interest in. The don'ts when choosing subjects is to be careful that you're not doing what your friends are doing, or that you heard it was an easy H1, that there's no such thing in senior cycle for 5th and 6th year, or you like the teacher. Remember, the teacher might not be teaching it at senior cycle, or teachers move. So just to be wary of those things when choosing subjects. Here are some websites to help parents and the students themselves, the third and TYs. They know how to navigate these websites because they had an opportunity in careers classes. So to name a few: Careers Portal, CAO, Qualifax, college websites like NUI Galway, GMIT, and you can add UL there, UCC Maynooth and so on, Mary Immaculate College. The military.ie includes the Army, Navy and Air Corps, the Guards, Nursing, and Access College is for those who may need extra supports when applying to third level colleges. Books by Dervla Kelly, career coach Dr. Patrick Ryan, You Can't Make Me, Brian Mooney is Start Your Career Journey, and each TY has a Reach Plus Careers Portal license. They'll be able to show you themselves an online license and account.